Hello, and welcome to G Fun Facts Online, the show that dives deep into the science behind our world. Today, we're talking about something we've all experienced, but perhaps never truly understood: heat. As our planet warms and heat waves become a regular feature of our summers, that feeling of being too hot is more than just a minor discomfort. It's a physiological crisis, a silent, unseen siege that extreme heat mounts on the human body, from our largest organs right down to the microscopic machinery inside every cell. So grab a cool drink, find some shade, and join me as we explore the science of how your body fights, and sometimes loses, the battle against hyperthermia. Our bodies are incredible machines, but they are fine-tuned to operate within a very narrow temperature range. The sweet spot is about 37 degrees Celsius, or 98.6 Fahrenheit. This isn't just a random number. It's the optimal temperature for all the countless chemical reactions, the enzymes, and the metabolic processes that keep us alive. Maintaining this balance is a full-time job called thermoregulation, and the mission control for this entire operation is a tiny region at the base of your brain called the hypothalamus. Think of the hypothalamus as your body's central thermostat. It gets constant updates from sensors all over your body, some deep inside your core, others on your skin sensing the outside world. When this thermostat detects that you're getting too warm, it kicks into action with a brilliant two-part cooling strategy. First, it sends a signal to the blood vessels near your skin to open up wide. This is called vasodilation. It brings more hot blood to the surface, kind of like how a car's radiator circulates coolant to dissipate engine heat. Your skin becomes a giant heat exchanger, radiating that warmth out into the cooler air. The second, and perhaps more famous, strategy is sweating. The hypothalamus tells your sweat glands to get to work. But it's not the sweat itself that cools you down. The real magic is in the evaporation. As that liquid sweat turns into vapor on your skin, it pulls a significant amount of heat energy away from your body. It's an incredibly effective, built-in air conditioning system. But what happens when this sophisticated system is overwhelmed? When the outside heat is so intense, or lasts for so long, that vasodilation and sweating just can't keep up. This is when we enter the danger zone of hyperthermia. It's important to know that hyperthermia is not a fever. With a fever, your hypothalamus intentionally raises your body's set point to fight an infection. With hyperthermia, the set point is still normal, but the body has lost control, and its temperature is rising uncontrollably due to external heat. This journey into hyperthermia usually happens in two stages. The first stage is heat exhaustion, and you should think of this as a critical warning shot from your body. It happens when you've lost too much water and salt, usually from excessive sweating. The symptoms can come on suddenly. You'll be sweating heavily, but your skin might feel cool and clammy. You might feel dizzy, tired, and weak, with a headache, and maybe even nausea. Your pulse will be rapid, but weak. At this stage, your brain is still working. You feel awful, but you're coherent. If you listen to this warning shot, move to a cool place, rehydrate with water or an electrolyte drink, and actively cool your skin, you can usually reverse heat exhaustion in about 30 minutes without needing a doctor. But if those warnings are ignored, things can escalate to the second, far more dangerous stage: heat stroke. Heat stroke is a full-blown, life-threatening medical emergency. This is the point where the body's core temperature climbs to 40 degrees Celsius, or 104 Fahrenheit, or even higher, and the entire thermoregulatory system completely fails. There are two cardinal signs that separate deadly heat stroke from heat exhaustion. The first is that high core body temperature. The second, and this is the one you can spot, is central nervous system dysfunction. The person becomes confused, agitated, they might slur their speech, become delirious, have a seizure, or even lose consciousness. This is the brain starting to fail. Now, there's a common misconception that in heat stroke, a person stops sweating and their skin is hot and dry. This can be true in what's called classic heat stroke, often seen in the elderly. But in exertional heat stroke, which happens during intense physical activity, the person might still be sweating profusely. So here is the most important takeaway you will hear today. If someone in a hot environment is showing any sign of confusion or an altered mental state, treat it as a heat stroke emergency and call for help immediately, regardless of whether they are sweating or not. While you wait for emergency services, your immediate actions can save their life. The goal is to start cooling them instantly. Move them out of the heat and cool them with any means available. Douse them with cool water, apply cold, wet towels or ice packs to the neck, armpits, and groin, where major blood vessels are close to the surface. The duration of the high temperature is the single biggest factor in determining the outcome. So why is heat stroke so deadly? Because the damage isn't localized. It's a multi-system assault that causes a cascade of catastrophic failures across the entire body. Let's start with the cardiovascular system. To cool you down, your heart has to work incredibly hard, pumping much more blood to the skin. Your cardiac output can more than double. At the same time, heavy sweating causes dehydration, which reduces your blood volume and makes your blood thicker and harder to pump. Your heart is working harder to pump less, thicker blood. For anyone with a pre-existing heart condition, this strain can be fatal. In fact, the majority of excess deaths during heat waves are from heart attacks and strokes. Next, the kidneys. To divert all that blood to the skin for cooling, your body constricts the blood vessels going to your internal organs, including your kidneys. This, combined with dehydration and low blood pressure, starves the kidneys of blood flow, which can lead to acute kidney injury. In severe cases of exertional heat stroke, muscle tissue can literally break down, releasing a protein called myoglobin that is toxic to the kidneys, causing them to fail. And then there's the brain, which is profoundly vulnerable to heat. High temperatures are directly neurotoxic. The blood-brain barrier, which normally protects the brain, can begin to break down, allowing harmful substances to leak in, causing inflammation and swelling. This is what leads to the confusion, seizures, and coma that define heat stroke. Prolonged high temperatures kill brain cells, and survivors can be left with permanent neurological damage. But the war on your body doesn't just happen at the organ level. To really understand the devastation, we have to zoom in, right down to the cellular and molecular level. Inside every one of your cells are proteins, the workhorses of life. They are folded into precise three-dimensional shapes to do their jobs. Heat causes these proteins to unfold and lose their shape, a process called denaturation. It's the same thing that happens when you cook an egg white, turning it from clear and liquid to white and solid. These misshapen proteins clump together, disrupting everything from DNA repair to energy production. The cell's membranes become leaky. And the mitochondria, the cell's powerhouses, start to malfunction, spewing out damaging molecules called free radicals, leading to a state of massive oxidative stress that attacks all parts of the cell. But perhaps the most devastating event is what scientists call a